Double honors and hell's J man, and honors and Rakim, and peace and blessings to your brothers and sisters that listen, hopeful elect. And since it's the new moon, coming Wednesday night, the Sabbath will be from Tuesday to Wednesday night. You know, once going a lesson, and that's how the Sabbath is based off the moon. Okay, that's what the Most High said in Genesis, the first chapter, man. Okay, the sun and the moon was created for time, for signs, and for seasons. Okay, and basically the new moon is pretty much when the moon is invisible to the naked eye. You know, that's the first cycle when the moon is in conjunction with the sun, so it's not visible to it's invisible from the earth. That's the new moon. All right, and that's how the Sabbath is based off when you read the scriptures. Now, even when you go into the word calendar, when you look up the etymology of the word, the original meaning of the word calendar, let me read it here. It says, borrowed from Old French, calendar, from the Latin calendarium, which means account book, from calendae, the first day of the month, from calare. So calendar goes back to the Latin word calare, to announce, solemnly, to call out the sighting of the new moon. So the word calendar goes back to the Latin word calare, which means to announce, to call out the sighting of the new moon. And that's what the word calendar means, man. And the word month actually means moon. All right? And, today we follow the Gregorian calendar, which that was created by, I think, Pope Gregory the 13th, 1582. That's what we mainly use today, which that's a solar-based calendar. And before that, you had the Julian calendar in 46 BC, and that was an 8-day calendar, man. So they had to change things up. And it's a longer history on why they created a Gregorian calendar. Was Easter was the main reasoning behind it, which that's a pagan holiday. Okay, but in times past, the calendar was based off. It was a lunar-based calendar. It was based off the moon. Let me see if I can get some information on that real quick. Here we go. This is Wikipedia. And they got the information from lunar solar calendar. All right. It's called a lunar calendar is a calendar based upon the monthly cycles of the moon phases, in contrast to solar calendars, whose annual cycles are based only directly upon the solar year. The most commonly used calendar, Gregorian calendar, which we use today, is a solar calendar system that originally evolved out of a lunar calendar system. So it evolved out of a lunar calendar system. Okay? It says a purely lunar calendar is distinguished from a lunar solar calendar whose lunar months are brought into alignment with the solar year through the process of intercalation. And this is where they get their leap years from. Okay? But let me see if I can read further down. It says, it said purely lunar calendars lose around 11 days per year relatively to the Gregorian calendar. It says in purely lunar calendars like the Islamic calendar. So the Islamic calendar is a lunar-based calendar. Okay? Those Muslims, man, because they come from the East. Okay? Which that's a false religion anyway. Okay? And most of they book is based off our scriptures, man. Okay? That's a cheap carbon copy, man. But their calendar is based off what? The lunar-based calendar. That's how it was based off in the East. But let me read further down. They said, although the Gregorian calendar is commonly in legal use in most countries, they said traditional lunar and lunar solar calendars continue to be used throughout the old world to determine religious festivals and national holidays. Example of such holidays include Ramadan, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Mongolian New Year, Nepali, Chuseok, Diwali Hindu, and Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew calendar. So there you go. So the old world, the Eastern world, It was what? Lunar-based calendars, man. Now today, because Esau pretty much colonized the earth, spread his influence everywhere, everybody has pretty much using solar-based calendars. And that's why the scripture says this. Let me start reading these scriptures now, man. You know? So that was a brief overview on that, brief history lesson. The scripture says, Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. It says, and he spake great words against the Most High, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. This is who? Esau, man. Okay? It says, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. Okay? America and NATO, especially the British Empire, man, and Spain and France. Okay? And plus you had America that came out of those three horns. But they spread their influence throughout the whole world because they colonized. That's why there's an old saying, the sun don't set on the British Empire. That's why a lot of them Eastern cultures, a lot of them are westernized. Okay, we know America's influence is spread throughout the whole globe. Because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, Esau, Edom. So he said, he shall speak great words against the Most High and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. He have worn out our people, okay, to slavery and captivity. And think to change times and laws. And he has changed times and laws, okay? Like they said, the Gregorian calendar was based off a lunar-based calendar, but then it evolved into a solar. So that's him changing times and laws. And he has intercalation and leap years and this, that, and the third. So what we understand that the moon is not supposed to match the calendar. The calendar is based off the moon, man. Okay? That's how it goes. And I'm going to read another precept. That's how the Sabbath is determined. Let me read this first another precept in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus chapter 43. Verse... Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verse 5. Great is the Lord that hath made it, and his commandment runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season, for a declaration of times, as it says, Genesis, the first chapter, and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast, so it's a declaration of times. Okay, that's why you had all these blood moons. You had, super moon, which you had the super blue blood moon the other day. That's a declaration of times, man. We know what time period we live in when you see these signs in the moon and a sign of the world. Okay? You had the astronomical tetrad, those 4 blood moons from 2000, I think it was 14 to 15. Okay, and we had the super blue blood moon. Okay, and even the sun, when you go into the solar eclipse last year, these different eclipses. But we're talking about the moon now. It says it's a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast. Okay? So the moon determines what the feast days, as we also read, a lot of these Eastern cultures, their feast days or religious days is based off the moon and also the scriptures. Let me read one. Leviticus 23. Leviticus chapter 23. Speak unto, verse 2. Let's start from 1. And Yahweh Shemel Shah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of Yahweh Shemel Shah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. 6 days thou shalt works be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest. So the Sabbath day falls under these feast days as well. In holy convocation, ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of Yahweh Shemel Shah in all your dwellings. So the scripture don't say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Those are all pagan gods and deities, man. Okay, that goes back to the Romans. That goes back to Norse mythology. You know, the god of the sun and god of the moon and Norse gods Re and Don and Thor, Frigg. You know, the Roman god Saturn, those are different, those are pagan gods, man. Okay? So, like the elders always say, what were our people following in the wilderness? What did they use to determine the times, man? We just read in Ecclesiastes, the 43rd chapter, they was using what, the moon. We also got secular information to prove that, man. And the scripture says what? Concerning the feasts of the Lord, you shall proclaim to be holy convocation. Even these are my feasts. 6 days thou shalt be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest. It was based off what? The moon, man. Okay? That's why it says in so it's simple, man. It's not hard. That's one of the commandments. Let me read Isaiah 66, verse 23. Okay, that's in the scriptures. You have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7. That's the Sabbath. Okay, the 7th, going into the first day, was the Sabbath, man. Okay, that's how it was determined. And that's why you read Isaiah 66, 23. And that Hebrew calendar that these so-called Jews use today is off too, man. They're not even following the lunar-based calendar. They follow that Friday to Saturday, which I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. Because one of their months is called Tammuz, which we weren't following that, man. Okay? Tammuz is a pagan god, pagan Babylonian god, man. That people worship underneath different names. This the son of incest of Semiramis and Tammuz. The Semiramis and Nimrod. Read Isaiah 66:23. It says, "And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another." So the two are synonymous, man. New moon and Sabbath. That's how the Sabbath came in. "Shall all flesh come to worship before me, save Yahweh Shem Yahshua." Okay, from one new moon to another, to one Sabbath to another. Okay, because the Sabbath was based off the moon. Because the moon was used for what? For feasts, man. Which the Sabbath falls under when you read Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Okay, that's why it says, you get another precept, 1 Samuel chapter 20. It says, and this is David, okay, when he was on the run. It says, from Saul. It says, read verse. "But if I say, thus saith the young man, behold, the arrows are beyond thee. Go thy way, for Yahweh Shem Yahshua have sent thee away. And as touching the matter which thou and I have spoken, behold, Yahweh Shem Yahshua be between thee and me forever." So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat down to eat meat. And the king sat upon his seat, as at the other time, even upon the seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something hath befallen him. He is not clean, surely he is not clean. And it came to pass on the morrow, after the new moon was done, which was the 2nd day of the month. So that's how it was based. The new moon came in, it was the first. The next day after that was the 2nd day, and that's how your 3rd, your 4th, your 6th, your 7th. And the 7th day going into the 1st is the Sabbath, man. And after that cycle was done, that was the beginning of another month. Okay, then the Sabbath would fall. When we matched up with this calendar, will fall on another day, next month, man. So like we said, the calendar, the moon is not based off the calendar. The calendar is based off the moon, man. Okay? So how were the days determined? Like it said, after the new moon, verse 27, and it came to pass on the morrow after the next day, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty, and Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today? So that's how Sabbath was based off, man. The whole Friday to Saturday, that can't be proven anywhere in the scriptures, man. There's nowhere in the scriptures. Because like we said, Friday, the word Friday, that goes back to Norse mythology. Norse, you could look that up, the Norse god Frigg. And Saturday goes back to Saturn. All right? Now, brothers and sisters, because you do have some Israelites that keep Friday to Saturday, because they are not known the scriptures. Now, if you do keep that, that's between you and Yahweh Hashem Shah, because the scripture does say in Colossians 2:16, let no man therefore judge you in meat or drink or respect of an high holy day, or of the new moon or the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Yahweh Shai. So Paul said, let no man judge you in that. If you truly believe Friday to Saturday is a Sabbath, that's between you and Yahweh Hashem Shah. And the Most High is going to judge you accordingly. Some dudes, keep the Passover at different time from other camps. That's between you and Yahweh Shah. At the end of the day, we're rehearsing the righteous acts. But according to the scriptures, the correct breakdown, the Sabbath is always based off the new moon. Okay, and you could simply look that up, like we just read earlier about ancient cultures. It was always a lunar-based calendar. All right. So hopefully this lesson was edifying. Like I say, giving all praise Yahweh Shem Shah. Shalom.